Salad or Dolly, threw a great party. We all drank Bacardi, it got kinda gnarly. We're light as a feather, we're tougher than leather. Together we're weirder together. I got shy. I was going to sing some.
I know you braced yourself. It's like you leant back. I saw the air go into your lungs. You inhaled and music was about to be emitted. What happened?
Too many songs were flooding my mind. I was thinking of Superwoman by Stevie Wonder.
You were going to sing a little Stevie?
Yeah.
But you don't freeze under pressure as a performer, do you?
No, not usually. A year ago, when we were doing the podcast in the kitchen.
Such innocent times.
I just would come in singing.
Would you feel better if we surrounded ourselves by utensils?
By pots and pans.
Pots and pans. A spatula, one of our first, now a little Ben and Ione lore. Our first fight we ever had as a couple was over spatulas.
I know. We were making eggs in that really beautiful apartment in West Hollywood. One of those, what was it called? Not the Andalusian.
No, it was one of those old Spanish little courtyard ones on North Laurel.
And who was your neighbor?
Peter Medak.
Peter Medak.
Who did the movie The Ruling Class.
Oh, yeah.
And recently made that documentary called like Me and Peter Sellers or something about working with Peter Sellers on that last film that, I don't know if it ever came out even, but it was an awesome documentary.
Yeah, really good documentary. Yeah, you were cooking eggs with a spatula and like a metal spatula. And I was saying you should use a spoon or a I don't know, something else.
I think you're underselling the intensity of
the fight.
You were like, it wasn't just like, I think you should use a spatula.
No,
it was almost more like a, how dare you? What type of travesty? Where were you raised? I mean, you were not happy.
Well, it wasn't like I was putting down that you were, because you were raised with your mom is sort of polite and old fashioned,
but quite intensive spatula use.
Really?
Is that where you got it from? Yeah. That's how we fried eggs, with a spatula. We didn't have one of the ones with a rubber.
It's making me mad again.
I know. So, but wait, you believed you should only cook eggs with a rubber. What do you call those things?
Well, there is a sort of a rubber type spatula thing. I don't know what it's called. I guess, Kate, my kid, actually made the most amazing eggs with a whisk, which I didn't know about back then.
So you are open to learning new things as far as your scrambled eggs.
Yeah, the spatula, not from me. I guess, I don't know. I'd like to now prove you wrong and look up YouTubes of cooks or Google.
I'm not that passionate about it. I just defended my ability to make you a reasonable breakfast. I also made you a milkshake with protein powder or something like bulking up powder in it, because I was so skinny in my 20s that I was just trying to like put weight on.
Yeah.
And I passed you this smoothie and you were like, this is delicious. What is it? And I was like, I don't know. It's got some blueberries and this has got some bulking up powder. And you spat it out in a full like John Belushi spit take. Yeah.
I know. I think don't have, fears of bulking up. But then when that happens, I've
never heard you say I need to bulk up. Hey, tell us about your amazing night at Freeze Record Club last week.
I was going to sing Too High. Well, so it was Intervision's Stevie Wonder, and this record party is so good because it's just the best crowd and the best, and Free is so great. So he and his sort of nerd music friend bring beautiful equipment, play records one side, there's a little break another side,
and there's like 100 or 200 people sitting in a room listening to a full album together in silence.
And I'm so used to doing your crazy, like spiritual things from when we were first dating that I was like, what should I wear to lie down? And I'm like, no, we're sitting up like normal people. No, because I'm used to like the crazy meditations, but this is really so nice. And I was a little overexcited and worried to share, like Stevie Wonder, like as if it's something that you can't share with everybody. But I feel so, emotional.
But also, notoriously, he did use metal spatulas to make his eggs.
I call him Stevie Wonderful.
You do. First person to ever say that, probably.
I think Karis said that.
Did she? So do you have a deep Stevie Wonder love?
Well, I would say who doesn't, but many people were very young, and I don't know if they have I'm a 70s kid.
You're an old head.
I'm an old head. But so this album starts with Too High, and it was right after Stevie Wonder toured with the Stones. And Free said, back then, even the roadies got like addicted to drugs. And I don't know what drug Stevie tried, but the first song is Too High and is about being too high. But it's the first album after Motown when Stevie kind of had his mind blown by like Marvin Gaye and Pet Sounds and albums that weren't just like baby, baby, baby.
Yeah, like experimental pop music, basically. Yeah.
And, Stevie Wonder drummed. And also there was, on and on you can go. But it was really great. And then we went up to the roof. It's a really cool spot.
It's at the old Grandmaster Records, which was a studio in Hollywood on Cahuenga.
Yeah.
And
a little sanctuary right in the middle of not my favorite part of Hollywood.
Interesting you use that word because I do believe the Cult recorded their seminal She Sells Sanctuary at that studio off the Electric album. We're delving into parts of hard rock lore that I'm not 100% firm on. But
my apartment in New York was nicknamed the Sanctuary. It was on
because you just played the Cult around the clock. Because you would go on to marry someone and join several cults, so it was really quite appropriate.
I can't tell you one Cult song. What era? 90s, 80s?
80s. Yeah, well, they were interesting bridging band between like hard rock and glam and alternative music, much in a similar way that Jane's Addiction would kind of do kind of better.
Yeah.
But they were like metal and sort of alternative. People kind of liked it.
My apartment on 20th and in between 10th and 11th, I'm a West Village like person. Whatever.
Bitch.
I'm a West Village bitch. That sounds so terrible. But my first introduction to New York was Queens. Because
Wait, did you actually go to? I know your mom grew up there.
Yeah. Well, I didn't grow up in Queens, but my grandparents lived in Queens. But So anyway, but when I lived on my own, I got this really fly apartment in this brownstone, and we called it the Sanctuary. It was like before all the galleries opened in Chelsea, and it was so quiet.
But oh my God, tell your real estate story, because that is like, everyone has these opportunities in life that they pass up and they don't really like. Didn't you have the opportunity to buy the building or something for like
but
sack of potatoes?
It wasn't like that crazy. Those crazy stories really like.
It was pretty crazy. How much were they selling the building for?
$1 million or something.
Oh, it was $1 million. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those.
That's still out of. How dare you tell that story to the beautiful babies who are trying to pull together a few bucks to go and see Oppenheimer?
How dare you interrupt my story of why my apartment was called the Sanctuary?
Okay, sorry, keep going.
Well, it was just quiet. I literally had an apple tree in front of my apartment. There was a seminary in front that bells were chiming, and it was, and in the back were beautiful trees, like right in the middle of Chelsea.
Amazing.
Well, it was very west.
Could you actually? I'm picturing you lying in bed, reaching out your window and picking an apple off the tree and just munching it.
I was moving my furniture around at night a lot, just out of just compulsion of like moving stuff around.
It's like meth housewives. Yeah.
Not on meth, just on like just being excited to have this apartment because I was newly divorced and I was having a very hard but opening, when you open up after a separation or something. And my neighbor the next day said, can you stop moving furniture around? And then literally the next night, it's like 11, 12, and I start work. Also, I love decorating, so I started doing it again, and then I was like, "Wait, what am I doing?" But now, yesterday I was just complaining that I don't feel like doing anything when I'm up at night with insomnia at times. Whereas when I was younger in this apartment, I'd play albums, I'd make mixtapes, I'd paint, I'd rearrange the furniture.
So were you not going out and stuff at night?
This was Moomba era.
Moomba, Pussy Posse.
Sam Ronson.
David Blaine.
Well, let's say Sam was before she dated women, but what do you mean by Pussy Posse?
Oh, that was Leo's friend group. They were called the Pussy Posse, and they were at Moomba every night. Picking up super.
Pussy Posse. My posse was more like Nigel Mogg.
Nigel Mogg is his own personal Pussy Posse. But Leo.
We called him Georgie Porgy because he'd have a few drinks and try to kiss people.
And Dono,
boys and girls.
And Dono's whole group of friends, your brother, was actually, there was an article on them in, was it Radar magazine? It was one of those New York magazines, and it was about the bitch boys.
Yeah.
It was about the boyfriends of all the supermodels.
Yeah. I mean, also, and then he wrote a song about it, which you do when you get humiliated, but humiliated ? Because, Shalom Harlow, Amber Valletta, Naomi
right. If like
Campbell.
the worst criticism is that you're dating supermodels, I think you could take that one on the chin.
Yeah.
But our daughter, I fear, has a penchant for the same type of glamour. We were going to a little picnic the other day with a group of Australian musicians. And I texted Goldie. I was like, Goldie, you want to come? We're going to a little, in Hollywood on a hill, little picnic with some Australian musicians. She texts back, who's going to be there? And I said, Georgia Mack, Amy Taylor, Amyl and the Sniffers, Mallrat, bunch of others. She just wrote, nah. And I said, just out of curiosity, who would impress you? And she wrote, Leonardo DiCaprio. He has not shown his face at an Australian musician's barbecue in decades.
No, but she was asking us about the old parties.
I know. She can't believe both of us had interactions with him.
I know. My friend dated him, Caitlin.
He told me I was a badass once.
Oh.
Yeah, but I feel like he threw that term around willy-nilly.
You're a badass. Still, it's like, it's a cool term. Still, even if you're throwing that around, it's not like saying you're great.
I've been told I'm a badass by Leonardo DiCaprio and that I had giant balls by Brad Pitt. So,
what about Russell Crowe?
Yeah, but he didn't I need a soundbite. A soundbite, Russell's generally so. But yeah, these kind of macho guys,
Who
they
said
like
you
me.
had big balls?
Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goldie, our kid, also wants a pink Rolls Royce.
So she's a badass.
And then when she showed me the picture, I was like, that is kind of amazing.
And
going back to her sort of love of glam. I mean, Leo's he was
glamorous,
but he's
like old Hollywood now.
Yeah, but he was from a more artistic, crunchy background.
Yeah, that's right. Like
Hollywood art. He's not blingy himself, but he is.
Yeah, but it's access. He's got access.
Yeah.
But hey, I wanted to say that night. So obviously, one of our good friends, Georgia Mack, revealed something the other night that when you find something about a friend that makes you reframe them, she can finish a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, I know.
Would you have guessed that about her?
I can do one side in a fancy way like that where you go, meh, 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 meh. But no, I will actually, now that I'm getting to know her, but yeah, the Rubik's Cube.
It's amazing. And apparently it's all these patterns. They're like crosses and I forget what the other term was, flowers. There are all these phrases for the types of patterns and you're looking for them. And
yeah.
I was highly impressed.
I can see one pattern, but that's it.
Which one?
I don't know what it's called.
I can see the pattern when there's just one color on each side. I think that's called finished. But yeah,
I guess maybe it's like people who play chess. So we had one a picnic in Barnsdale Park.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, wait.
Yeah. That was it?
No, that was it. But I'm also trying to think of why I got triggered last night. So because we went to a brunch.
Oh, at Joe Wong's house.
Joe Wong's, which was wonderful. No triggers.
Wonderful, but can I just say, wonderful lineup of 90s music luminaries.
Dog.
So yeah, Anna Warrenker and Steve McDonald, Anna from That Dog and Steve from Red Cross, who actually met and fell in love at a Noise Addict show at Jabberjaw. Classic LA punk. And that's immortalized in the That Dog song, Minneapolis. I was at the Jabberjaw, cutest boy I ever saw. Not me, Steve McDonald. They were there. Craig Wedren.
My ex fell in love with Kathleen Hanna at your show.
At a Noise Addict show. I know.
Not Noise Addict.
No, it was Noise Addict at Somersault.
Wow.
That's
Ben Lee, by the way, before Ben Lee.
Yeah, that was my band. I think that would be an incredible service to provide, much like a Jewish matchmaker on Netflix. I'm going to pitch this. Indie rock matchmaking, but you don't do it hands-on. It's just, I've always said anyone at my shows are like good relationship material because I'm quite romantic.
Yeah.
So I always thought my shows should have been better pickup joints.
Well, you've been in a lot of
they did all right for me, but
TV shows, romantic. So,
okay, wait, you were talking about getting triggered.
Well, no. I'm just saying. So I went to Joe Wong's and it was lovely, and
he made bagels.
He made bagels. I only got a little triggered because his house was so tidy and clean, and I'm
First baby on the way. They don't have little kids running around yet.
I bet
it's too
you
easy.
it's gonna stay that
Give
way.
them 6 months.
It's gonna stay that way. But people around my age were all sort of older, and I'm thinking, yeah, whatever. This is all going to sound so superficial. But then we go to this G Flip party.
Okay, so last night we went to G Flip's record release party that her and Chriselle were having at Jason Oppenheimer's house. So this is like Selling Sunset. We don't really watch this show, but this is a Netflix reality show.
Yeah.
So,
and it was all influencers, and I was trying, and it sort of reminded me of those old. I used to go to Hollywood parties, back when I was younger, in the hills, like up Sunset, like that. But it was old Hollywood before the internet. Fine, everything, similar. I mean, I guess there was more older men being gross or something.
Well,
I don't
parties
know.
now, it's like they're set up for Instagram. Basically, like there are stations around a party. It's all designed for influencers, I feel.
Yeah, and it was
fun, though.
This was in, people who were, I don't know, in and around LA and in the business. I don't know. The vibe was all different. But it was like young influencers. And I was wearing a dress that was really cool, like this vintage polka dot. I don't know what the vibe was. But by the end of the night, we got there really early. And by the time our crew came, our Aussie crew, the party was sweet because G Flip sang a song, and then this iconic song. What was it?
I'll Be a Man. That was off a single off the new album.
Yeah, and it's such an iconic song.
It's it's a hardcore love song for tops.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, and it's just right on the nose, but right on the money. So it was great. But you showed me pictures. We got home. I'd hot rolled my hair in the beginning of the night, and I was like, this outfit's cute. I'm wearing my favorite shoes by
I can never
Miriam.
We'll
look it up.
No, I'm going to look it up because this is important because this is also one of shoes. Daphne Javich's good friends and an amazing shoe designer. Mariam Stalling. Here it is. Mariam Nasir Zadeh.
Yeah, and they're like coral colored, the coolest shoes. Anyway, but then you showed me these pictures, God bless you, and they were just like, I just felt I looked like sort of like a school teacher who rolled down a hill.
Babe, isn't
that terrible?
There's so much self-hatred going on. It's
I
like
know.
that.
But then compared to the other party where...
Yes. Well, but that was our age group. This party they were like TikTok influencers in their early 20s showing as much skin as they could.
I know. But I think it's also... Fuck, what was I going to say?
Self-consciousness,
No.
spatulas, Stevie Wonder.
No.
The apple tree outside the window. G-Flip.
Oh, it's also... because it's also sort of when you are very beautiful, it's that thing, like when you are considered, when you're young, like the Warren Beattys of the world, it's sometimes I think kind of harder getting older and your body changes and all of that. Because you were like once.
Oh, so you were saying because you played the ingenue role, like the pretty young thing role.
Yeah.
And so now you're finding it like challenging to transition into a pretty old thing.
Yeah, pretty old thing. But it is
But you are
interesting.
beautiful and we're like, me and you are like the mom and the dad in the scene.
I know.
We're
I
like
just
the
have
aunt
to get
and uncle.
into being, I think also the ingenue thing, like I was, you were like highlighted for being young or something.
Right. So maybe it's like you're tapping into a deficit in confidence in your other assets too.
Yeah.
That you're like one of my look, we do a podcast together. You're like my favorite conversationalist in the world. Not to mention the fact you are still extraordinarily beautiful. I think you're more beautiful than ever.
If I'd grown up in your family where the emphasis was on sort of doing good things,
you'd be a lawyer.
And education. My family were relying on these good looks we got from my Hungarian grandfather. But so that's the end of that story.
Well, but I wanted to also shout out Jessica from the Veronicas and her fiance Alex were there, and they were so in love.
Yeah.
This is one of the most in love couples I've witnessed in a long time. Reminiscent of you and I must say.
Oh, yeah, I know. We are still. Goldie, our kids, said the other day, why are you guys still in a honeymoon
I
period?
know. Her friends like hang out here because we like each other.
And this was such such a funny LA party. It's like middle of summer, and there's fire features, like a fireplace behind glass in a room with air conditioning. But we were all outside too. But it's very LA to have like, and maybe Palm Springs, like air conditioning, but the fireplace is going. It's just
Totally.
it's really funny.
And it was the last night of Amel and the Sniffers being in town, which they are just like, that was such a great few weeks of them being
Speaking of parents,
around.
I've got Georgia Mack and then
Amy Taylor,
like my daughter.
and I feel like Grace Morad is angling for some
really?
for some daughterhood too.
Okay, I'm open.
We've also had a few friends getting bizarrely hacked on Instagram this week.
It's so funny.
That we've almost fallen for, I think.
Oh my God, it's so funny. It's like the private message, like, will you support my clothing line? And it's someone who easily could have one.
Totally. That was so believable.
I'm like, oh, yeah, of course. And then I look on her main page and it's like a yellow Ferrari.
Check out the car I just bought with my business coach.
And then I'm thinking, that's a funny thing to post when you're starting a business. And she, she is married to someone who has some family money or something or other. But I was just like, it's just funny branding to be like, help me with my new business. Look at the Ferrari. Then our other friend had a funnier car for them because they'd never get this car. And so now we blocked, like, you help someone out if this happens to
report their account as being hacked
and block it.
And then in just general, just pour one out for that Instagram account, because I think that's the last we'll be seeing of it.
But then what happens? It's so crazy.
Hey, they have a chance to reinvent themselves with
what
their
would you
business
do?
coach.
What would I do?
I would straight up hire that business coach and say, let's start again. I'm going to embrace this. I'm going to make lemonade. I'm actually going to
take it as a sign to buy a yellow or buy that pink Rolls Royce for Goldie. Callback joke.
Mental note. Can I plug my tour dates just before we wrap up?
Yeah, you did that last time.
I know, but they're still on sale and they're not sold out. What the hell? I got to, like, advertising. You know about the 3-touch rule?
I do.
Yeah, you can't just.
No, I'm sorry. I'm undermining my partner.
I've got tour dates coming up in Australia in the end of September, 28th of September in Sutherland, 29th in Pambula, 1st of October in Brisbane, 4th of October in Wollongong, 5th of October at Avoca Beach, 6th of October in Katoomba, 7th of October at the Talagandra Hill Winery in Gundaroo, 13th of October and 14th in Melbourne. And there's also going to be some DJ Dad Bod shows and Rage in the Placid Lake 20th anniversary screening. And all in all,
we're going up to Washington to the Thing Festival.
To the Thing Fest also, yeah.
And that's going to be
That's going to be our first live pod taping.
It's going to be really good.
Yep, Kimya Dawson's going to come out and be our guest. So
yeah, and also Kate Berlant.
She's not going to be on our pod, but she'll be there. I know. She's competing with. She's my direct competition during my DJ Dad Bod set. Which I
don't know what to do.
I know. This is one of it. It's almost like, you know how some couples get like a free pass to sleep with someone. She's your free pass to skip my set.
I guess I have seen a lot of your sets, but they're really, if your set goes on into, it's not going to go on and on and on, I guess.
I think I'm going to stick within the given time limit. Sounds like a Grateful Dead show. Anyway, we'll see you later. Love you lots.
Beautiful babies.
Together we're weirder together.